When is it coming out? Surface Book 3. When is it coming out? What's going on? That's what everybody wants to know, and that's what I'm reviewing today. I wish I could be reviewing the actual computer, but it might be out by the time you see this video. If it is, I'm going to talk about my experience with the Surface Book 1, Surface Book with Performance Base, Surface Book 2 15-inch. I had all of those. I have a Surface Go right now. I had a Surface Pro 6, Surface Pro 3, Surface Pro 2. So we'll talk about all of that in this video, and we will speculate on what is to come. So we're talking about the Surface Book 3. What do we want in it? There have been some leaks recently, and I don't know how valid they are, but this is everything we want in the Surface Book 3. For me personally, I know a lot of people want a more powerful laptop, and to be honest, what I've realized after having all of these Surface products is, even though they proclaim that they are the most powerful two-in-ones, yes, they are, but they're not the most powerful laptops. What I've learned from all the internet geeks, and I've become one myself, is that most of these are using lower wattage quad-core processors. And up until the Surface Book 2, they were dual-core processors that only went up to 25 watts for a limited time, and then they would go back down, and people would complain that they weren't as fast as they thought. So I bought into the hype originally when I got the first Surface Book. I thought, you know what, this is going to be the best laptop for me. I'm going to be able to do everything with it. And actually, I could. So the Surface Book 2, I could do everything with it. The Surface Book 1, I could not. Even though I had 16 gigabytes of RAM, but it was still a dual-core mobile processor. Now the Surface Book 2, especially the 15-inch, it had the 1060 graphics card. So for those people that played games, they could do that well. And then it had a quad-core CPU, which is, I think, the most important thing because it makes multitasking easier. Video editing was a breeze, especially if you use my favorite video editing tool. I know a lot of people love Adobe Premiere and After Effects, and then for people on Mac, they love Final Cut. But on lower powered PCs and laptops, I love Power Director. I love Power Director, and a lot of people, think it's a newbie type video editing program, but if you're doing basic video editing, that's really all you need. You don't need anything more powerful than that. And like I said, the original Surface Book was a great success. A lot of people started liking it, but at the end of the day, though, they liked it, but some people were trying to push it further than it really was supposed to be used. People were trying to use it for CAD work. I mean, you can, but it's going to use 100% of the CPU. So my video rendering test on the Surface Book 2 and the Surface Book 1, I did get really good tests. So for example, for a 10-minute 1080p clip to 20 minutes, the video would render in Adobe Premiere in about 20 minutes. For a 4K clip, that would take 40 minutes. So that's when people would run into problems if they're using a Surface Book 2 or Surface Book 1 for really heavy lifting. The graphics card did help a little bit. So if you use a video editing program that uses the graphics card, for example, in the Surface Book 2, it had the 1060. If it used the graphics card like in Adobe Premiere and in After Effects, that would help. But if you look at your CPU utilization, if you do Control-Alt-Delete and look at performance under the Performance tab, you'll see that it's actually using 100% of the CPU. So for example, right now I have a gaming laptop, a Sager cheap gaming laptop with a 1650 graphics card. It came with 16 gigabytes of RAM. I upgraded it to 40, and it has a i7 9750, I believe that's what it's called. It's basically the mobile 45-watt processor, which is almost double the power of what would be in a Surface Book 2. Now, when does that actually affect your workflow? So if you're doing animation and you're rendering something on a Surface Book 2, it's going to use 100% of the CPU. So when I render now with Power Director, instead of using 100% of the CPU, it uses about 50%. So I still have 50% left to browse, to multitask, etc. So that's what you have to realize, that it does have power, but it doesn't have unlimited power. So if you take that into consideration, it'll be a good product, even with the CPU that's supposedly going to be coming with it, because with the leaks recently, people are getting excited about the third one, but the Surface Book 2 came out in 2017 and it's 2020 and it's still not here yet, the Surface Book 3, right? But the problem, I think, is with Intel, and AMD recently came out with a new mobile CPU, even the lower wattage one with the U at the end. It's still more powerful than the U-powered Intel CPUs. The problem is they just came out with this, and Microsoft, Apple, they all do their designs 2 years in advance. So they're probably working on the Surface Book 4 right now, the MacBook Pro 2022 right now. So they need to know in advance when these processors are coming out. So my hope is probably that the Surface Book 4 will be the almost perfect one. Another thing a lot of people are looking for is an upgrade in the internal components. So is the processor a lot better? Even the U Ice Lake processors are better. They are faster. Will that really make a difference though? Honestly, the Surface Book 2 is a great computer, great laptop. If they have Thunderbolt 3 on this new one, and it's a lot faster, if they maybe even put in an AMD chip, which I doubt, then this would be a no-brainer. If you have a Surface Book 2 though, I don't know if this is going to be a no-brainer. I really don't. I mean, you tell me, do you think the Surface Book 3, if it just had an Ice Lake CPU and it was 10% faster and it has regular USB-C, and what else would be different? It would just be a launch price, and the Surface Book 2 would be probably $500 cheaper. For $500, you can build half of a premium desktop that would be double the speed of the Surface Book 2. But one thing I am missing, I am a fake part-time, never drawing artist since high school, which was 20 years ago. So I do like drawing for my presentations because I do sales training and business consulting. So the product would pay for itself if I got it, and it would probably get me excited to make more engaging presentations. Like I could be drawing on the screen right now instead of just using my Surface Go, which I say I would like to use my Surface Go, but I would have to plug my Surface Go into this gaming laptop. I'm going to do that in the next video to show you a Surface Book 2 or 3 alternative for 60% of the price, that's more powerful, where you just plug in your Surface Go into your laptop, your gaming laptop, because it's going to have a more powerful graphics card. You might have the same graphics card, but there will be bigger fans, a bigger chassis, so there will be better airflow, it won't throttle as much. So that's the upside to a gaming laptop, and that you can usually get a decent one for $1,000. You're not going to want to show it off to anybody, but it's going to be a good computer. So that's what we're hoping for. Some people want Thunderbolt 3. Now, like I said, though, who is the Surface Book for, though? I think it is for, they say it's for professionals, right? But it's also for professional artists or people that play one on TV or YouTube. So I want to play an artist on YouTube. I want a Surface Book 3, but when it comes out, you can basically buy a used Honda Civic for $3,000. Maybe not a Honda Civic, maybe not a Honda Civic. Those things keep their value. Maybe like a used Chevy Cobalt, right? That still gets you around even in these tumultuous times. Is a Surface Book worth $3,000? Maybe. So, with my business, if I gross hundreds of thousands of dollars or $1 million, then obviously it's worth it, but not really, because when you compare it to other laptops, it's what value are you getting out of it? Now, the one thing I will say, even though I have a Surface Go and I've had a Surface Pro, there's something to be said about the feeling that a tool gives you when you use it. It inspires you. I felt a lot more inspired when I had the Surface Book 2 than I do when I use a regular computer or gaming laptop. I wanted to use it. It just was beautiful. It felt great. Opening it, it just inspires you. Now, that's just an emotional feeling. Will that help me make more money? On my other channel, Make Money with Tech, that's what I'll focus on once I do get it, if I'm going to have to get it now, right? So if you want to support that, make sure you get one of my cheap courses so I can buy it and then show it off on that channel. I'll link below to that channel as well. I originally was going to get the Surface Laptop 3 and then wait for the Surface Book 2 to come out, but the Surface Laptop 3 just did not have enough power. But it is a lot cheaper. You could get one for $1,200. But then I felt if I pay that much, I might as well get a Surface Pro because it's more versatile. So I think it's for professionals. It's for people that actually want to use the pen. If you are into CAD or, you compile lots of files in Mozilla, in, Visual Studio Code. If you're doing just that, it's fine. But if you have 30 Chrome tabs open, even though the Edge developer browser it uses less memory now, but Google seems to be trying to sabotage it. If you go try this yourself, if you have any computer, download Edge browser and use it in Gmail or Google Chrome and in Google to search for anything. It's just slower. Everything else is fine. So Google, wait, I'm on YouTube. Let me not threaten Google. But yeah, so that's pretty much it. Hopefully there are significant changes to make it worth it. But, obviously it's a 2-in-1. It's not a regular laptop. It should be out hopefully by the time you watch this. If it is, great. You can go play with it at the store. Maybe you can't. So come back to this channel and watch what we find out. It is expensive. So if you're not using this to make money, I don't think you should be getting it. So on my other channel, Make Money with Tech, we'll be talking more about that. But I really think this is for people that will be using it to make money, not for people that just want a pretty laptop. I mean, if you're taking computer science in school and you're in college, yes, one device, instead of having an iPad Pro for $1,200 and a MacBook Pro for $2,000, right? That's $3,200. Or if you get a 16-inch MacBook Pro for $2,500 plus the iPad to write notes on, that's obviously close to $3,000. That makes sense. Yes, get one device. That works for you. If you're going to spend $3,000 anyway, then you could have one device for $2,500 if you get 13-inch. But just keep in mind, this is not a great value if you're not really utilizing it. If you're not in school taking a ton of notes every day, or if you're not a professional that makes money from the work you do from the actual computer, then it's expensive. For other people though, you know, there's a lot of other options. Dell XPS, the MacBook Pro. MacBook Pro costs a little bit more or about the same, but you don't have a touch screen. It's not a convertible, but it's going to be a little bit more powerful too in some instances, like rendering, unless they come out with a 45-watt CPU, which I doubt they will. You know, the 15-inch, based on the leaks, is going to start at $2,000. That's going to be the starting price when it comes out. They may come out with a cheaper one without the GPU. That might still be $2,000 unless you get the 13-inch. So after getting the 15-inch and two 13-inches, I have a gaming laptop now and a desktop. I would probably get the cheapest 13-inch with a dedicated GPU, which is going to be about $2,000. Anything over that, you could just build a better computer. You can get a gaming laptop that will probably perform better. The new AMD gaming laptops that are coming out, even the nice looking thin ones that would be a half a pound heavier, will still probably perform better as long as they have a GTX GPU. What else? Well, other than that, I mean, I hope the design is improved, but a lot of people are saying the design is going to be very similar. Per Sam's of Petrie.com, he's a reliable Microsoft reporter. He said the Surface Book 3 won't look much different from its predecessors. Hopefully they improve the hinge so that when you're doing graphic intensive tasks, you try to separate it with a button. Hopefully it's not as difficult as it was in the past, because it wouldn't let you separate it. You would have to try and end programs, you know, wait till you can't stop, you can't disconnect the clipboard when you're rendering. Obviously you shouldn't do that anyway, but weird things could be using the dedicated GPU. So hopefully they figure out how to manage that better, and then hopefully they increase the battery life of the clipboard, right, from like 3 hours to 5. Because if they're using the U series, they should be increasing it to 5 or 6. If you could get 5 or 6 hours out of the clipboard, I would love that. Would love it, love it, love it. What else? So if they added a hinge to the clipboard, then that becomes a giant Surface Pro with the hinge, because then you can actually detach it from the keyboard and use it instead of having to just hold this giant Frisbee in your hand that's really light. It is really light when it's separate, but still, you kind of want to put it down because it's so big. And if they added USB-C to the clipboard, I'm asking for a lot, but if they did all these things, I definitely buy it and keep it. If they don't do all these things, I'll buy it and test it out. And if I don't like it, it's going back, right? So I do like the proprietary Surface Connect. It would be nice if they do Thunderbolt 3. I doubt that they're going to do that. So some of the leaks show it's going to be an iCore Ice Lake 1035 G1. The G7 is in the Surface Pro right now and the Surface laptop. So I think they're going to do the G7 probably on the higher spec models. The difference between the G7 and the G1 is that the G7 has a better integrated graphics. So you won't always need to use your graphics card, and then you can use the clipboard more. The base clock is 1.0 gigahertz and it's up to 25 watts, but we'll see, right? It's on 10 nanometer chip, which AMD is already down to 7 nanometer and they're going to go to 5. So I really wish at some point that they do integrate an AMD version. So we will see, because the Surface Laptop 7 and 3, they both are using the G7s. If you don't get the AMD, definitely the Surface Laptop originally was AMD, but then they had the business version that had the Ice Lake Intel. So I think that's the better chip, but AMD has now come out with a better chip. So let's see if Microsoft updates any of that, and we'll see how it goes. It really just comes down to how well they manage the heat. How have they improved the hinge design and the specs? I mean, we know it's going to be 2,000 or more. That's just how it is. These are some of the leaks, supposedly. We will see if this is true. I mean, who's to say, right? And it says total power package 12 to 35 watts, and it's going to be 15 watts. This is the AMD one from the Surface laptop. So the Ice Lake CPU was actually faster than this. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. I hope they do come out with an AMD version as well. That would be nice. So people have an option. If the AMD version is $300 cheaper, I might get that, especially if it still has a GTX graphics card. And they are also saying that there may be a NVIDIA Quadro for those professionals. See, so now you're saying this is a professional computer. I don't know how the U-series CPU is going to keep up with the Quadro, because those aren't balanced. I mean, I know the U-series are better, but let's just see. We'll test it out when it comes out, right? And make sure you contribute to the channel, like this, subscribe, buy one of my books so I can afford to get that, because I have another business I spend all my money on. So do that. And it's not clear though if the Quadro will be for the 15-inch. I believe it will be, so we shall see. Let's see what happens. Let me know what you think. I love the first Surface Book because I was shocked when the screen got separated, and I was like, wow, this is crazy. How are they turning a Surface Pro to a laptop? And I got that within the first month it came out. Got the Surface Book with the performance base. Got the Surface Book 2. Now I'm gonna get this just because I'm doing this series, but if I wasn't doing this, I probably wouldn't buy it unless they surprise us. So let's see what they do, and let's check it out. Make sure you subscribe. This is going to be a new series, so you're going to love it. And also go to my Make Money with Tech channel if you want to learn how to make money with tech, so you can afford gadgets like this and make even more money. So see you all on the other side. This is Flo signing out, and take care.